in engineering, in my books, I have explained it in full detail. In engineering, we have a concept that we call it as risk. Risk, especially from an integrity management point of view, is a function of likelihood of a danger and the consequences associated with it. These consequences could be financially made, consequences, or even damage caused by such dangers to the environment. Likelihood is basically defined based on probability of failure. Okay? Now, this is the definition of risk. Then we have a definition for engineering importance. When we say something is important, what is really what we mean by saying so? In my book, when we say something is important, it means that its risk is high as well as its cost. Now, according to the definition of risk, if the risk of a certain danger, say microbial corrosion, is considered to be low because of the high level of consequences associated with it, its risk is still high. Like, for example, in a fire water ring system, you may say that the likelihood of getting microbial corrosion is low because I am, for example, running water every now and then to change its state from stagnation to, to not being stagnant, which is itself a paradox. I will explain later. So you may think that you may assume that because of all the measures I have taken, therefore the likelihood of getting microbial corrosion is low. Fine. But if it happens, like the example I gave, the consequences will be high. Therefore, no matter how good you are at dealing with microbial corrosion, still its risk is high. And because the cost of microbial corrosion is also too high, it could amount to about 40% of the cost of corrosion. So if cost of corrosion in a given country is, for example, 100 units, at least 40 units of that could be related to microbial corrosion. You just translate this example into numbers for Australia, for India, for any country. As long as you know the cost of corrosion there, it is just a desk study. Sit down and just assume that it is, like, for example, for the Netherlands, where I am currently residing, it has been estimated that the direct annual cost of corrosion is 20 billion euros, more or less 20 billion, say dollars, okay? And if you just are just lucky that the cost of microbial corrosion is not 40% of this figure, but just 10% of this figure, which is quite an optimistic estimation. This means that a country like the Netherlands loses at least 2 billion euros a year just because of microbial corrosion. And this is something that you can, generalize to other countries.